Hello, welcome to Pokemon Lair. Today I'm going to be unboxing a box of 10 cards that I sent to Professional Sports Authority over a year ago, and I just got back. They sent them in a bigger box with some packaging, and then they arrive in a little box like this with some nice packaging inside. Go ahead and pull them out and we'll get started. The card is a 2000 Pokemon Gym Challenge Blaine's Arcanine Holo First Edition, the number 1 card. And on grading, you want to check the front surface for any blemishes or scratches. You want to check the edges for any fraying or white showing. You want to check the centering from top to bottom and side to side. And on all those counts, this one looks pretty good. On the back, you want to check to make sure that it looks really good. Check all the edges for fraying or whiteness, and check your centering from top to bottom and side to side. On this one, you can see the lower left has less edge than the lower right, and that gives us a grade of a near mint 8. Awesome. That is a great card. Our card is a 2000 Pokemon Team Rocket Dark Charizard Holo. And on grading, we want to check to make sure that the surface has no blemishes or scratches. You want to check the edges for any fraying or whiteness. You want to check the centering from top to bottom and side to side. This one looks pretty good. On the back, you want to check to make sure that there's no blemishes or scratches or bends. You want to look at the centering to make sure that it's really good. On this one, you can see that there's a little bit of fraying and whiteness up on the upper right edge, and the centering looks pretty good. So that's going to give us a grade of near mint 7. That's not pretty bad for having some fraying. Our next card is a 2000 Pokemon Gym Challenge Blaine's Charizard, the Holo, the number 2 card. On grading on this one, you want to check the front for any blemishes or scratches. This has none. On the edges, you want to make sure they're crisp and clean with no fraying or white. On the centering, you want to look to make sure that from the top to bottom and side to side, they're pretty good. And this one looks pretty darn. On the back, you want to check to make sure that there's no blemishes or scratches. You want to check the centering to make sure it's pretty good. On this one, there is a little centering problem from the upper right to the upper left, it looks like, and maybe from the top to the bottom. And that is going to give us a grade of mint 9. That's really awesome. Awesome. That's a great card. Our next card is a 1999 Pokemon game Raichu, a Holo, Shadowless, the number 14 card. On this one, you want to check the surface for any scratches and blemishes, and this one does have some scratches just to the left of the Raichu on the Holo, but and then you want to check the edges for any fraying or whiteness, and this one looks pretty good. And you want to check the centering from top to bottom and side to side, and this one doesn't look too bad. On the back, you want to check for any blemishes or scratches, and you want to check the centering, and this one looks pretty good. And you want to check for any fraying or any whiteness on the edges, and this one I don't see very much, so that looks pretty good. So that should give us a grade of a 4. That's probably because of the scratches on the front. So we'll do better next time. Our next card is a 2000 Pokemon Gym Challenge Erika's Venasaur, a Holo First Edition, the number 4 card. And we want to look at the front for any scratches or blemishes. We want to check the edges for any whiteness or fraying. We want to check the centering from top to bottom and side to side. And on this count, all of this doesn't look too bad on the front. On the back, you want to check for any scratches or blemishes. You want to check your edges for any whiteness or fraying. And you want to check your centering. And as you can see on this one, we have the lower left is less than the edge on the lower right. And that should give us a grade of near mint 8. That is pretty good. Awesome job. Our next card is a 2000 Pokemon Team Rocket Rainbow Energy, a Holo First Edition, the number 17 card. You want to check the front for any blemishes or scratches. You want to check your edges for any fraying or whiteness. Look at the centering from top to bottom and side to side. This one looks like the left is a little less than the right on the front. On the back, you want to check your back for any blemishes or scratches. You want to check your edges for any whiteness or fraying. And you want to check your centering, and as you can see on this one, looks like our upper right is a little less than the upper left. And that will give us a grade of near mint, mint 8. That's not too bad. Pretty good for an old card. Our next card is a 1999 Pokemon Fossil Lapras Holo First Edition, the number 10 card. And again, on the grading, you want to look for any scratches or blemishes on the front. You want to check the edges for any fraying or whiteness. You want to also check the centering from top to bottom and side to side. This one looks pretty good. There is a little more edge on the lower part of it than the top. On the back, you want to check for any scratches or blemishes, and you want to check the edges for any fraying or whiteness. And you want to check your centering on this one. The centering looks pretty good. And that should give us a grade of near mint, mint plus 8.5. That is an awesome, awesome grade for that card. Our next card is a 2000 Pokemon Gym Challenge Erika's Venasaur, the Holo First Edition, number 4 card. And as we look at this one, for any blemishes or scratches, I do not see any on the front. We're looking at the edges for any fraying or whiteness, and I don't see any of that. And then we're looking at our centering from top to bottom. That looks pretty good. And side to side, that looks pretty good. And we'll go to the back. And you're looking for any scratches or blemishes on the back, and I don't see any. We'll look at the edges. The edges look pretty clean, no fraying or whiteness. And then centering. And centering, we have a problem with it being a little less on the lower left than it is on the lower right. And that should give us a grade of near mint, mint 8. That's pretty good. That's an awesome grade on an older card. Our next card is a 2000 Black Star Promo Eevee, a Holo, number 11 card. You want to be looking at the front of this card for any scratches or blemishes. I think this one has some minor scratches on the Holo part of this card. You want to check the edges for any fraying or whiteness. You want to check the centering from top to bottom and side to side. On the just front of this card, all that looks pretty good except for some minor scratches on the front. On the back, you want to look for any scratches or blemishes, and then you want to look at the edges for any fraying or whiteness, and then you want to check our centering, and our centering on this one, the lower left has less than the lower right. So this is going to give us a grade of excellent mint 6. That's not too bad for having some scratches on the front. I think that's pretty good. Grading review of a 2000 Pokemon Black Star Promo Eevee Holo, the number 11 card. We start with the surface of the card. We're looking at for any bends, creases, or scratches. Then we move on to the centering. On the side to side of this card, you can see it looks pretty good. Top to bottom though, the bottom is probably out of our spec for the centering. And then you can move on to the edges of this card. You're looking for any fraying or damage to the corners. And this one looks pretty good. Continuing on the back, we're doing the same thing. We're looking at the surface for any problems with it, the blemishes or scratches. Moving on to the centering on the back looks really pretty good, a lot better than the front. And then you want to look at the edges and the corners, and on this one, the lower two corners have a little fraying or damage to them. With those two things being discovered, our grade is a grade near mint 7. That's not too bad.